Bro, if black people would act the same way as Chinese people do, they would be so much more powerful, so much more rich. There are so many black people in the world. There are so many, especially African Americans, bro. The thing is, they are not bonding. They're fighting each other. If they would be as united as Chinese people, bro, they would be powerful as fuck. But they're divided. But they could be powerful, but they don't have this unity. They don't have this gene which makes them connected. Or maybe it's the elite which keeps them divided. Bro, if black people would act the same way as Chinese people do, they would be so much more powerful, so much more rich. There are so many black people in the world. There are so many, especially African Americans, bro. The thing is, they are not bonding. They're fighting each other. If they would be as united as Chinese people, bro, they would be powerful as fuck. But they're divided. But they could be powerful, but they don't have this unity. They don't have this gene which makes them connected. Or maybe it's the elite which keeps them divided. Bro, if...
Yeah. Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, those who rule well and who I learned this truth from. Salutation to the brothers stiffly pushing this one truth in all sincerity and diligence, risking your lives and freedoms to do so. All right, shalom to the rest of the elect as we all await the second Exodus coming quickly by the hands of Lord Yahweh Shah. This is your brother Rakagabar. All right, now coming back at you, I'll give it another lesson. All right, you pretty much see Moab, all right, which is the so-called Asian man, or Shalakia, the so-called Chinese man. It looks to be Moab, is pretty much saying that, you know, if black people was able to come together and have unity, we pretty much be we'd rule the world, man. You know, we'd be the most powerful nation on the planet. All right. And, you know, he said at the end that, you know, our people don't have the gene to have unity, that, you know, we're divided, which he's right. You know, our people are divided. All right. And can't come together. And this is all due to what? The curses, man. All right. And he also said that, you know, or it may be due to the elites trying to keep them separate. And that's also true, man. When you read Psalms, the 83rd chapter, all right, scriptures speak about how these nations have been confederate against our people. All right. And doing so, trying to cut us off. All right, so that we'd be no more in remembrance. Okay, this is Psalms 83:1. It says, keep not thou silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. See that? And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. All right. And it begins to list all of these nations that have become confederate in cutting off who? The Israelites. Because when you read throughout the scriptures, especially during the, you know, the period of Judges, all right, the Lord, you know, the Lord will raise up a righteous judge to Israel, to the Israelites, all right, to free us from our oppressor. OK, which was these various heathen nations. And, you know, the new generation of Israelites would come out and they would go right back into idolatry. All right. Then we get thrown back into captivity. And, you know, that story would pretty much keep repeating itself. OK, but these nations, when you read about our history, they feared the Israelites, man, because of our power. Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah, he would be the one fighting our battles, man. And these nations knew that when the Lord went before us, nothing could stand in our way. So, you know, this, and I don't know, he could be a Jake. You know, we say that just because, you know, we don't go based off of necessarily the outward appearance. OK, so, you know, I can't say, but he looks to be Moab. OK, a so-called Chinese man, but he's pretty much breaking it down that black people could rule the world, man. You know, black people could rule the world if we were unified, if we weren't divided. All right, which guess what? That goes into the curses, which shows you we're those people, man. OK, everybody knows the talent that Jake has, man. It's like, what's so peculiar about this people, but yet they can't even stop fighting each other. Well, hey, that's due to the curses, man. And yes, the elites, OK, Amalek specifically call his ass out. The small hats have been the ones who have been behind the scenes, behind closed doors, working to keep us divided, man. Right? Why is that? Because they know we would be the most powerful, and we would rule the world, which really we're going to. Okay, and this is why you have the elect, the house of David being rebuilt, because the house of David ruled under the reign of King David and King Solomon, man. You know, the heathen were underneath us, and that's how the Lord has ordained it to be anyways. But in falling off and in serving the other gods of these nations, we fail, man. And the Lord fucked us up because of that. But now we're being rebuilt, reestablished. Okay, this is Deuteronomy 28. You know, when you read verses 1 through 15, these are the blessings that will befall our people. Or rather 1 through 14. These are the blessings that will befall our people if we kept the commandments of the Lord and didn't commit idolatry. All right, which I'm not going to read all of them, but, you know, I'll jump to because pretty much the opposite happened to us when we went off. Okay, the curses. But this is Deuteronomy 28 and 13. It says, and Yahweh shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only. See, so in keeping the commandments of the Lord, all right, and following and serving him, we would have been above all these nations, man. Scripture said, and thou shalt be above only, meaning we'd be at the top. You know, they deal with a hierarchy. They call it a class system and whatnot, right? We'd be at the top of that, man. And really, we're going to be. And once again, this is why the Lord is reestablishing the house of David, which are Israelites that are coming back to serve the Lord to the best of their ability, and who are going to be saved by grace and faith whereby they believe, man. That remnant is going to, for lack of better words, start the new world under Yahweh Shah, man. All right, spearheaded by Lord Yahweh Shah. All right, and then his governing body, the 144,000, and then the rest of that remnant of elect Israelites, all right, are going to Salakia, are going to start that new world, man, where we are going to be on top, because at that point we're going to receive the blessings only, because we're not going to go off. All right, when you go into the new covenant, Hebrews 8, all right, Jeremiah 31, I want to say Ezekiel 36, the Lord is going to put the laws in our inward part. So we're gonna receive the blessings only of Deuteronomy 28. Okay, and we're gonna be done with the portion of the curses, man. And this is coming quickly. It says, and Yahweh shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. See, we're beneath right now. Okay, we're on the bottom right now, man. Why? Because we went off. So all the curses of Deuteronomy 28, when you read verse 15 on down, has befallen our people, which goes into what what he was saying is that we're divided. He said we don't. It's like our people don't have the gene for unity, man. Well, guess what? The elect have the spirit for it. Scripture speak about having one mind, that ye speak the same things. Yeah, that's the elect. The elect are woken up. We have the spirit. We speak the same thing concerning prophecy, the mark of the beast, the breakdowns. Hey, that's the one mind, the unity, man. See, so you see the house of David being rebuilt, that unity of our people. All right, and it's only the elect of our people, man, of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and the scattered Israelites. Okay, even Israelite foreigners, because you have Israelites that don't look like Israelites, man. This is why us in the truth will say, well, he may be a Jake, woo through woo, because we understand those things, man. It's not necessarily about the phenotypes. Okay, that could be an indicator, but it also could not. It's really about the spirit. Okay, because you start dealing with genes and from your mother's side and your father's side, and you get a whole lot of different variations, man. All right, it's not that surface level, but nonetheless it says, and thou shalt not be beneath. Okay, and if thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh thy power, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. See, so, us going after other gods and serving other gods is the reason we're in this predicament. This is why we divided, because this is a heathen, okay? It looks to be a heathen, I'll say, right? But yet they see that our people are divided up. You don't think that they see that the households are out of order? The black woman is talking about some I don't need a man, and single mothers at an all-time high. Planned Parenthood and things that are done to target our people. They see it. They don't speak up. They don't ultimately don't look at it as necessarily their problem, man. But guess who's the ones behind the scenes that's putting these that's causing this rift between our people, man? It's Esau Edom. See that? That's why he mentioned at the end the elites. Okay, we didn't tell him to say that. He said that. These people see what's going on, man. Right? Amalek, the small hats are behind the doors, all right, pushing drugs into our communities, right? They had that shit called the Willie Lynch letters, right? Read that. It tells you how they was gonna break the family structures up amongst our community, man. This is the curses literally in full effect. Now, so like I said, you can read this entire chapter, but let me just because he mentioned a division, I want to show you why our people hate each other, and whatnot, because we follow the gods of the heathen, which our people still do to this day, man. And that's why the Lord had to raise up the elect. You see that? This is Deuteronomy 28. Bear with me one moment. Matter of fact, let's grab this real quick. Verse 43, it says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. See, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So that reversed. Now we're on the bottom, man. Okay, Scripture said, I have said all of your gods. Salakia, let me just grab it. I don't want to butcher it. This is Psalms 82 and 6. Psalms 82 and 6, it says, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Verse 7, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. See, because we were created to be on the top, man, as Israelites. But, all right, we fell, okay? We fell away from that glory that we had under King David and under King Solomon, all right? Because while we went astray. So that's why I said, verse 44, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And we have to go through these devils for the one of all things, man. But let me grab this real quick. Okay. Yeah, Khan. Verse 53, it says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, and the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters. Okay, that's not what I want. 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. There's division. See that? That's where you get gang culture from and all this shit. His eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his child, which he shall leave. See? All right, verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, and now this is going into Keisha, all right, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son and toward her daughter. Okay? Right? So that's the division that's happened amongst our people, man. All right? Because we broke the commandments. So the Lord did exactly what he said he was going to do, and he fucked us up and brought us low. But now, all right, we're in the times. Let me grab this. Because although the elites, Esau, Edom, Amalek, they've tried to keep us down. When you read Ezekiel 37, when you read a Revelation chapter 11, the Lord speaks about rebuilding this great army. See, Amos, the 9th chapter, right? Which is the house of David being rebuilt right before these people's eyes, man. And this is Psalms 50. And Psalms chapter 50 and 16. It says, but unto the wicked, the Most High said, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Yeah, the wicked, which the border of wickedness is Esau, Edom, they don't put the push the commandments of the Lord, man. They do the complete opposite. You see, they don't have to hold the Lord's statutes and commandments in high regard, right? This society is ran completely contrary to the laws of the scriptures, man. The laws of the Bible. It says 17, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee. See, when thou sawest a thief, then thou contendest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. And that's Esau, man. He's a deceiver. He's a slanderer. All right, verse 20, it says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. Okay, which slander goes into what? False accusations, right? Matter of fact, let's look this real quick, because slander. Okay, give me one moment. Yeah, slander. Stumbling block, temptation, scandal, right? A false or unsupported malicious statement, especially one which is injurious to a person's reputation. So Esau slanders our people. How? Because when you read in Habakkuk 2, he makes us drunken. He makes our people drunken with his ways, man. You know, Greco-Roman customs, sodomy, you see, feminism. He made our people drunken, okay? And then once he gets you drunk, okay, it's like a man that roofies a woman. He gets you drunk, and then once he gets you drunk, all right, and naked, now your shame is exposed, and he's pointing a finger like, look at your people down here going off. Because we've been created to be righteous, he's like, look at your people, you know, doing all these atrocious things, man. But it's like, hold up, you the elites, you're the ones who propagated this into our community, man. That's how he slanders Jacob. Okay. It says, verse 21, but here's the point. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such and one as thyself. The Lord, for a period of time, the Lord wasn't moving, man, because he waits for measures to be fulfilled. Okay. He let Esau rack up a tally sheet, and now the Lord is acting. Now you see what's going on in the world, man. Right? It says, thou thoughtest I was altogether such and one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. And we're in the times where the elect are being set in order. Okay, and that goes into the unity, all right, being restored to our people, okay, under the house of David, man, the elect. So, you know, we are going to rule the world, all right? When you go into the book of Daniel, it tells you how the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess it forever, because we're coming into a time, all right, a new age. You see a new world where the Israelites are going to receive an upgrade, a holy heavenly upgrade, man. And you go into the new covenant, the laws written into the inward parts, meaning what? We don't have to worry about the curses no more. We don't got to worry about death no more. We don't got to worry about division no more. Okay, we don't have to worry about hating each other no more. All right, we don't have to worry about no fucking elites. Ain't gonna be nobody over us, man. And we showed you that in Deuteronomy. We're gonna be above only. See, that's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah, man. And that's why he's calling for his people to come together to wake the hell up. We can get the hell up out of here, man, and finally begin to know what it's truly like to live. But it's only going to be the elect that make it on this time, man. But with that, I'm going to end it off there. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah, DTA Wah Baba Ball.